Everyone, welcome to Blooming Voices. I'm Anita, your host for this amazing platform. Today, we are talking about generational codes. This is about beliefs and practices that has been passed down from one generation to the other. I'm joined here today by Janice. Janice is a Gen Z, so she is going to share her insight with us. Thank you for joining us here today, Janice.
Thank you for having me here today.
Okay, Janice, what do you understand by the term generational cult, and why do you want us to talk about it?
So the term generational cult simply means strict traditions or beliefs that have been passed down from older generations to younger generations, and it's being passed down for it to be a continuity of these traditions and beliefs. And I'd like for it to be discussed today because as someone who's a part of the Gen Z, which is quite a modern generation, we are now surrounded by social media and, very modern traditions. And us Gen Zs, we believe that since these, traditions and beliefs are being passed down from older generations to us, that we're being trapped and isolated.
Okay.
Because then we're not able to, come up with our own traditions and beliefs. So, yeah.
That's a good way to put that. And growing up in Ghana, I saw this quite a lot. Traditions were sacred, and questioning them was almost like you committing a crime. It was a taboo. But moving to the UK made me see things differently. But I still understand that those beliefs shape people. What about you? What do you see that's happening around you?
Yeah, I see many traditions and beliefs shaping people. From the traditions that are being passed down from older people, I do see that there is a way that these traditions and beliefs are able to shape people.
Yeah.
But with the Gen Z, with younger generations, our mindsets are a bit different to older generations.
Yeah.
From my mindset, from what I believe, I do think that if you actually take a look at the values of the traditions and beliefs that have been passed down, maybe it could change you and how you think.
Yeah, that's I agree with that. I want us to talk about something that has just come on my mind. The idea of instant success. Back in Ghana, we had something called Agbala or Juju. Have you heard of this before?
I've heard of Juju, but not the Agbala.
Okay. Well, growing up, Agbala was talked about a lot, especially in schools and universities. Some students believe that it could, help you pass or excel in your exams. And we also had what we used to call for girls. Boys tend to use that a lot. These were used by guys who lacked confidence in approaching girls, or they think that, okay, this girl, if I approach her to tell her I love her and that I want to be in a relationship with her, they're going to, reject them. So they use that as a confidence booster, and also get the girls to fall for them, which was not natural.
So that could be considered as a love spell.
Yeah, so something like that. Guys tend to use that quite a lot when we were growing up. And Agbala or Juju to outside education or outside love spell, people also use that as riches.
Yeah.
So they would, perform rituals, do their sacrifices, and they get what they want. Now, here in the UK, there's nothing like Agbala or Juju.
Yeah.
There are codes, secret codes, which promises instant success. And young people are lured into this.
Yeah.
Can you share with us your friend's, is it your friend's older sister?
Yeah, my friend's
Yeah,
older
the
sister.
story of your friend's older sister.
So this was during 2016 to 2017. I think that's when these generational cults, them cults that have been, put into mega churches were becoming more popular. So my friend's older sister, she was in year 11, and this was during the time of GCSEs, so she was a bit overwhelmed, and she was overthinking, because GCSEs is a very important exam that every year 11 child has to take, and it determines whether you're able to get into university or sixth form. So she was overwhelmed, she was overthinking, she was like, oh, what if I don't pass, or what if things don't go right for me? So she decided to look into other ways that could, help her with success. And that's when she, approached a mega church. So she signed up for the mega church. She went there, and, being the usual Christian she is, right, she thought that this mega church, it, help her, not with just the success, but, with her relationship with God, and how God can help her get closer to success. So when she had gotten to the mega church, right, she thought they'd be preaching about the things in the Bible that tells us how we can become successful. But it was all about money, donating your blood, and many other things that shouldn't be discussed in a church. So that pastor in the church was like, oh, if you want to become successful in this mega church, you must either donate blood or donate money using a loan. And it had to be between £2,000 to £3,000.
Wow.
So my friend's older sister was like, okay, I'm not going to donate my blood, but I will donate money. So she went to go carry out a massive loan from the bank in her mother's name. I think it was around 2,500, around there. And she gave the money to the church. The church was like, okay, thank you for your loan. We'll see what we can do with your success plan. And then after that, she was left like that. They didn't help her with anything.
Just like that.
Yeah.
She lost her money, and she didn't get what she was looking for.
Yeah.
Wow, that's sad. That is really sad. And the fact that it had Christianity attached to it, subconsciously, she thought it was genuine.
Yeah.
Why do you think young people fall into these traps?
I'd say because of them being impatient, and also the pressure that's being put onto it. And I also think that the Christianity beliefs are also linked to it.
Yeah.
Because if we delve deeper into the younger Christians falling into traps like these, I mean, they were raised as Christians, going to church and so and so. So if them being the usual Christians they are, if they were to come across a mega church, right, and they see that it's linked to their religion, they'd obviously think that it's not an issue, and they'd go ahead with it. So that's what's making them fall into traps like that. And with the pressure and impatience thing, I think because of the pressure that they're receiving from family members or people surrounding them, like questioning them, what do you want to do when you're older? Do you have any plans? What are you going to do if this and that doesn't work out for you? And I think it's all becoming overwhelming for them, which then leads to impatience, because when they figure out a successful plan for them to carry out what they want to do when they're older, it becomes all overwhelming, and they're just trying to get what they want quick enough.
And I also think it's the pressure to succeed fast, especially when you see people on social media living flashy lifestyles. It makes you feel like you are lagging behind, and you start looking for shortcuts to catch up. And it's quite sad. Sometimes you need a very strong mindset in order not to be influenced by what you see on social media. And I also think that when you are content with what you have, you tend not to be easily influenced by what you see on social media. And as I said earlier, you need a very strong mindset, because come on, what you see out there is good, so why not, if there's a shortcut to getting all of these, I will do it. Everyone is gullible in one way or the other. And I think that young people today, because of social media, everyone wants to show off. Everyone, not with young people today, everyone, whether millennials, I think this is from millennials to Gen Z, we want to show off. We are putting our lives out there. the highs. I think many people are not really putting out the lows. They are always putting out the highs. And that is, if you are someone who wants to, learn from people, there are some people that you need to follow on social media. I think if the person you're following is serving you some value, positive value, you need to carry on following them. But if you think they are going to pressure you into these kind of things, unfollow them so that you have that kind of peace of mind. And it is hard. I guess you would agree with me that it is hard not to be enticed by what you see out there. Come on, you see someone out there on a very, cruisy holiday destination, having the fun of their life, driving flashy cars. It's out there. Sometimes you would question yourself, what am I not doing right?
I mean, sometimes the people that are posting these, you don't know whether they're, faking their whole life or not.
So, you would question them, what am I not doing right that I'm also not living this lifestyle? There are some people out there who are really making it, but they have chosen not to put their lives out there. So as I said earlier, it depends on who you follow on social media. So I think the pressure to succeed fast, you need a strong mindset. You need people who will mentor you, who would guide you in making good decisions in order not to fall prey to these cults. And back in Ghana, it was the same pressure, but in a different way. I remember when I was in my junior secondary school, we had vacation classes, and come on, it was one way or the other a fashion show. Vacation classes was a fashion show. Everyone is going to show, dress well. They think that, okay, I need to show people that I've got these clothes, I can really dress well. And this is what we are seeing out there on social media. At that time we didn't have social media, but it was at these events where people were showing off what they had, especially their clothes. So do you think that the church has a role in addressing these generational beliefs and pressures?
I mean, in our church they do, but from many other black churches, I don't think they do. I think they focus more on traditions and beliefs. Because if we're being honest now, the black churches, they're being led by older generations. They're not being led by younger generations. And I think that's the problem, because the older generations, they don't understand younger generations, so it doesn't really matter to them. But if they were to do their research, maybe they could actually put in the work and actually helping younger children and actually helping them to stay away from generational cults and actually breaking down traditions and beliefs in the church.
Definitely. I agree with you. The church has a lot of influence, but then it also has to go beyond just preaching. They need to help young people deal with real life issues like the pressure to succeed or the dangers of things like the cults you talked about. Some churches focus on rules and appearances than the real life challenges that young people face. And I think that if they created open conversations, it would help a lot. So the church has a big role in teaching young people to focus on faith, character, and hard work instead of shortcuts. So Janice, let's talk about traditions. What are some of the things that you think Gen Z is questioning in the church or society?
I think within society, I think it's about the strict gender roles in marriages. Because in older generations, they believe that, the man, is, in charge of everything. He's the one that has to provide everything. He has to go to work. Like, he doesn't have to take care of the children. Whereas the wife, she has to be the housewife. She has to, take care of the children, take them to school, cook for the man and the children. And Gen Zs were questioning that, because when you're married, you're equal. Like, one doesn't have to be below the other, and the other doesn't have to be, on top of the other. So we don't understand why that's being put as a tradition or as a belief. And I think us Gen Zs, we classify that as sexism.
Okay. Right. Can you elaborate on sexism?
So sexism is when someone makes like a judgment on a gender. Like, let's say if I were to say men are, much more stronger than women, that's, classified as sexism, because I am saying that one gender is better than the other.
All right. Okay. This reminds me of my time in Ghana, where the church had strict rules about dressing and behaving, especially for women. But moving to the UK made me see that faith is about what's inside your heart and not how you look. Do you think some of these traditions are outdated?
Yeah, I think many of them are outdated, with the strict dressing codes and, the strict gender roles. I think that people can be free to do whatever they like without, being pressured or being told what to do.
Okay. And I also think that it's important to respect where some of these traditions came from. I mean, if a tradition adds value, we can adapt to it instead of, throwing it away. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if we were to, delve deeper and research more about these traditions and beliefs that we think are outdated, maybe we can make some changes to it, changes that are, that are able to make the older generation and the younger generation comfortable with.
Right. So Janice, how do you think that young people can balance respecting traditions while finding their own path?
I think that if you don't believe in a tradition or a belief that you think is outdated, maybe you can still respect it, because there are many people out there who still follow it and he still they think the tradition and belief is close to their heart. So if you don't want to follow it, you may as well respect it, and you may as well leave it as that. On the other hand, if you want to look for your other traditions and beliefs, you might as well research more, and you might take the traditions and beliefs that you think are outdated, and you might adapt to it and elaborate on it so that you can also understand it even better.
All right. So Janice, thank you for joining us today. This has been a good conversation, and thank you for sharing your friend's story. It's clear that traditions and generational beliefs shape us, but we can choose what to keep and what to let go. And to everyone watching or listening, what role do you think traditions and the church play in shaping young people? Share your thoughts in the comment section or reach out to us. Until next time, keep blooming. Bye.